Tonight I am going to tell you about a place that almost nobody talks about. A place where people do not disappear. They are slowly replaced. If you ever travel across northern Montana and your train stops at Black Hollow Station after 11 at night, remember one thing. If someone calls your name from the darkness, never answer. Not even once. My name is Ethan Carter. 3 years ago I worked as a railway signal inspector. My job forced me to visit remote stations all across America. Most of them were empty, most of them were forgotten, but none of them were like Black Hollow. It was late October. Cold rain covered the train windows as we crossed endless forests. The conductor walked through the cabin without saying a single word. Nobody else was awake. When the train finally slowed down, I looked outside expecting a small town. Instead, I saw only one platform, one old station building, one broken clock, and miles of dark pine trees surrounding everything. The train doors opened. The moment I stepped outside, the air felt different. It was freezing, not normal cold, the kind of cold that feels alive. The train left only a few seconds later. Its red lights disappeared into the darkness. Then everything became silent. No insects, no wind, no voices, only silence. I checked my phone. No signal, no internet. The station clock showed 11:13. The second hand kept moving. The minute hand never moved at all. I frowned. Maybe the clock was broken. I picked up my backpack and started walking toward the station building. Halfway across the platform I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, heavy, perfectly matching my own steps. Every time I stopped, they stopped. Every time I walked, they followed. I turned around. Nobody. The platform was completely empty. I laughed quietly, trying to calm myself. Long trips make your imagination stronger. That was all. At least that was what I believed. A weak yellow light flickered above the waiting room door. Inside sat an old woman wearing a dark gray coat. She looked at me before I even entered, like she had been waiting for me all night. "You are the new inspector?" she asked. I nodded. "Yes, Mom." She slowly stood up. Her eyes never left mine. Then she spoke so softly I almost missed the words. "If someone calls your name tonight, do not answer. Not even by accident." I smiled politely. "Is this some local tradition?" She did not smile back. Traditions do not bury people. Rules do. My smile disappeared. Before I could ask another question, she walked toward the exit, then stopped beside me. Without turning around, she whispered, "Whatever you hear, whatever voice you recognize, keep your mouth closed, because it already knows your name." She walked into the darkness. Within seconds she was gone, as if the night itself had swallowed her. I stood there alone, trying to convince myself she was just another lonely old woman with strange beliefs. Then something happened. A long train whistle echoed across the empty forest. There were no tracks in that direction, yet the whistle came closer and closer, until it sounded like someone was standing directly behind me. Then I heard it. "Ethan." The voice sounded exactly like my younger brother. The same tone, the same accent, the same warmth. My heart almost made me answer. Then I remembered the old woman's warning. I closed my mouth. The voice came again. "Ethan, come home." The moment those words reached my ears, every hair on my body stood up. My younger brother had died 6 years earlier. There was no possible way I could hear his voice. Not here, not tonight. I squeezed my backpack strap until my fingers hurt. The voice sounded closer now, almost close enough to breathe against my neck. "Ethan, Mom is waiting. Come home." Every instinct inside me wanted to answer. Just one word, just one sentence. But I kept my lips pressed together. The station lights suddenly became weaker. One by one they began flickering. The broken station clock still showed 11:13. The second hand continued moving. The minute hand refused to move. Time was trapped. Something was keeping the night alive. The whistle echoed again. This time it was followed by another sound. Footsteps. Not one pair. Dozens. Slow footsteps walking across the platform. I looked toward the tracks. Nothing. The platform was empty. Yet the footsteps continued, as if invisible passengers had just stepped off an invisible train. A cold breeze carried the smell of wet earth and rust. Then another voice appeared. This one belonged to my mother. "Ethan, sweetheart, please answer me. I know you can hear me." Tears filled my eyes before I even realized it. It sounded exactly like her. Every tiny detail, every pause, every breath. My chest tightened. For one dangerous second I forgot where I was. I almost whispered, "Mom," but before the word escaped my mouth, something struck the waiting room window. Bang! I jumped. The glass shook violently. I turned toward it. A crow. Its entire body was soaked. Its feathers looked almost black under the weak light. It stared directly at me. Then it opened its beak. "Do not answer." The words came from the bird. Perfect, clear English. Not a human voice. Not an animal sound. Actual words. My blood froze. The crow flapped its wings once, then disappeared into the darkness. Behind me the voices stopped. Complete silence returned. For nearly 20 seconds nothing happened. Then the station building door slowly creaked open by itself. Inside the office a small desk lamp switched on. Nobody touched it. Nobody was inside. On the desk lay an old leather notebook. One page was already open, as if someone wanted me to read it. Against every instinct I walked inside. The paper looked fresh despite the notebook being covered in dust. At the top someone had written, "If you are reading this then it has already spoken to you." Below that was a list of names. Hundreds of names. Every name had one word beside it. Answered, except the very last one. Ethan Carter. Waiting. My breathing stopped. I had never been here before. Who wrote my name? And how did they know I would come tonight? Before I could think any further, the notebook turned its own page, without a single hand touching it. Only one sentence appeared across the paper. "It is learning your silence." A chill spread through my body. I slowly stepped away from the desk. The notebook remained open. The fresh ink had not dried yet, as if someone had written those words only seconds ago. "It is learning your silence." I looked around the office. Dust covered every shelf. Spider webs hung from the ceiling. Nothing looked disturbed, except one wall. A large map of the railway network was covered with hundreds of small black pins. Every pin marked an abandoned station. Every abandoned station had one thing in common. Each one had stopped operating after unexplained disappearances. Black Hollow was the only station circled in red. Suddenly a radio sitting on the shelf crackled to life. Static filled the room. Then a calm male voice spoke. "Night inspection report. Subject Ethan Carter. Status still silent. Progress acceptable." The radio clicked off. My heartbeat became painfully loud. Someone was watching me. Not from outside. From somewhere inside this station. A wooden drawer beneath the desk slowly slid open by itself. Inside was a stack of faded photographs. The first picture showed Black Hollow Station in 1984. Dozens of passengers stood on the platform. Every face had been scratched away. Only their bodies remained. The second photograph showed the same platform years later. Completely empty, except for one man standing beside the broken clock. His face was perfectly clear. It was mine. I dropped the photograph. That picture could not exist. I had never been here before tonight. The office suddenly became colder. A deep vibration moved through the floor. Not from a train. From underneath the station. Something enormous shifted below the ground. The wooden floor creaked. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then I heard breathing. Very slow. Very deep. Coming from beneath my feet. The sound moved directly below where I was standing. Then stopped. Silence. Without warning. 3 knocks came from under the floor. 1, 2, 3. My entire body froze. Something underneath the station had knocked back, as if it knew I was standing there. Then the same voice that had been calling my name whispered from below. "Ethan, you are standing on the door." I backed away so quickly I crashed into the wall. The old photographs scattered across the floor. One picture landed face up. This photograph was different. It showed the station master standing beside a little boy. The boy looked about 8 years old. On the back someone had written, "The keeper and the first listener." Before I could read anything else, the office lights went completely dark. Only the broken station clock outside was visible through the window, still showing 11:13. Then I saw a silhouette standing beside the clock. Tall, unnaturally thin, its head tilted at an impossible angle. It did not move. It did not breathe. It simply watched me. Then slowly, very slowly, it lifted one hand and pointed directly toward the station door, as if inviting me outside. Every instinct told me to stay inside, but something felt even more dangerous. The office was becoming smaller, not physically. It only felt that way. The walls seemed closer than before. The ceiling looked lower. Even the air was getting harder to breathe. The silhouette outside never moved. Its arm remained pointed toward the platform, almost like it already knew I would eventually step outside. I forced myself to move. Each step felt heavier than the last. The moment I opened the station door, the freezing air hit my face again. The platform was empty. The silhouette had vanished. Only the broken clock remained, still frozen at 11:13. Then I noticed something impossible. Fresh footprints covered the platform. They appeared one after another. No person was making them. Each footprint simply formed by itself, as though invisible feet were walking away from the station. Without thinking, I followed them. They led toward the far end of the platform where an old maintenance tunnel disappeared beneath the tracks. A rusted metal gate blocked the entrance. Across the gate someone had carved one sentence: "Do not enter after the second call." The words looked old. Deep scratches covered the steel, like dozens of people had tried to erase the warning. Another voice echoed across the station. "Ethan." It was my father this time. His voice was older than I remembered. Calm, gentle, exactly the way he sounded before leaving for work every morning. Son, I finally found the way home. Come with me. My knees almost gave out. My father had disappeared when I was 12. His body was never found. For years I imagined hearing his voice. Now it sounded more real than my own thoughts. I closed my eyes. Do not answer. Do not turn around. Do not believe it. I repeated those words inside my head. Then something touched my shoulder. A human hand. Ice cold. I spun around. Nobody. The platform was empty again, but the cold remained on my shoulder, as if invisible fingers were still resting there. Suddenly the rusted gate unlocked by itself. The loud metallic click echoed through the tunnel. The gate slowly opened inward. Darkness waited beyond it. Not ordinary darkness. It looked thick, almost solid, like black smoke filling the entire tunnel. Then a lantern lit itself somewhere inside. Its weak yellow light revealed dozens of wooden signs hanging from the tunnel walls. Every sign carried a person's name. Some were new. Some had almost rotted away. I stepped closer. The nearest sign made my heart stop. Ethan Carter. The wood was fresh. The paint was still wet. Below my name another line slowly appeared. Expected before midnight. Then from deep inside the tunnel, hundreds of voices whispered together, almost like a choir. He is finally here. The whispers grew louder with every second. Not shouting, not screaming, only whispering. Hundreds of voices speaking at the exact same time. He is finally here. Welcome home. The sound did not come through the tunnel. It came from inside my head. I grabbed both sides of my face trying to block it out. It made no difference. The voices only became clearer. Then every whisper suddenly stopped. Complete silence. A single lantern deeper inside the tunnel began swinging by itself. Back and forth, like someone invisible had just walked past it. I should have turned around. I should have left the station forever. Instead I stepped inside. The moment my foot crossed the tunnel entrance, the station behind me disappeared. I turned around. There was no platform, no tracks, no station building, only a long tunnel stretching endlessly in both directions. Panic exploded inside my chest. I ran back toward where the exit should have been. My hands struck solid concrete. The entrance was gone. I was trapped. A low metallic sound echoed ahead. Click, 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 like hundreds of old railway signals changing at once. The lantern stopped moving. Then another one lit. Then another. One by one dozens of lanterns illuminated the tunnel. They revealed photographs hanging from the walls. Thousands of them. Every photograph showed someone standing at Black Hollow Station. Some were children. Some were elderly. Some wore clothing from 50 years ago. Some looked modern. Every single person had the same terrified expression. Then I noticed something even worse. Every photograph had one empty space. Someone had been cut out of each picture, as if history itself had forgotten them. I kept walking. My breathing echoed through the tunnel. Then I reached a massive iron door. It stood at least 20 feet high. Old railway symbols had been carved into its surface. At the center of the door was a single sentence. Only the answered may enter. Before I could move, the iron door slowly opened by itself. A freezing wind rushed past me. Inside was an enormous underground station. Bigger than any station I had ever seen. Rows of empty platforms stretched into darkness. Old trains stood silently on every track. None of them looked abandoned. They looked like they were waiting. Every clock inside the underground station showed the same time. 11:13. Not 1 minute more. Not 1 minute less. Then I saw people. Dozens of them. Standing perfectly still across the platforms. None of them moved. None of them blinked. Every face looked pale. Every pair of eyes stared directly at me. Then together, without moving their mouths, they all spoke. You stayed silent. So now, it wants your memory instead. My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear my own breathing. The people across the platforms never blinked. Their eyes followed every movement I made. One by one they slowly lifted their hands. Not to wave, not to threaten. They were pointing behind me. I turned around. An old passenger train had appeared without making a sound. Its headlights were off. Its windows were completely black. Above the first carriage a rusted destination board slowly changed. Chicago, Denver, Seattle, Boston. Every city disappeared one after another. Finally only one destination remained. Home. The train doors opened. Nobody stepped out. Instead a conductor slowly walked onto the platform. His uniform looked almost 100 years old. His face was hidden beneath the shadow of his cap. Only his smile was visible. Too wide. Far wider than any human mouth should be. He held a leather ticket book in one hand. Without speaking he tore off a single ticket, then offered it to me. My name was already printed on it. Seat number 13. Departure 11:13. Return. Never. I refused to touch it. The conductor smiled even wider. Then for the first time he spoke. "You have already paid the fare. You answered the first call. The rest belongs to us." Suddenly every person standing across the platforms began searching through their own pockets. One after another they removed old driver's licenses, passports, wedding rings, family photographs. Then they dropped everything onto the ground, as if none of those things meant anything anymore. A little girl stepped forward. She could not have been older than 8. She looked directly into my eyes. "Can you remember your mother's face?" I opened my mouth. Nothing came. I tried harder. I could remember that I had a mother, but her face, her voice, even her name, were disappearing, like smoke blown away by the wind. Fear exploded inside me. I reached into my wallet. My family photograph was still there. I looked at it. Every face except mine had become blurred. Not scratched, not damaged, simply impossible to recognize. My hands began shaking uncontrollably. The conductor quietly laughed. "Memory leaves before the body. That makes the journey easier." Then he looked toward the dark train. "Someone inside wishes to meet you." A figure slowly stood behind one of the black windows. At first I could only see the outline. Then the glass became clear. The person inside was me. Same clothes, same face, same backpack, even the same frightened expression. The only difference was the smile. It was smiling at me, while I was not. Then my other self slowly raised one hand, placed a finger against the glass, and silently mouthed 3 words. "Your turn now." For a moment I forgot how to breathe. The thing inside the train was not similar to me. It was me. Every scar, every wrinkle, even the small burn mark on my left hand from childhood. It copied everything, except one detail. Its eyes were completely black, not dark brown, not shadowed, pure black. It smiled wider, then it slowly lifted its hand. The train door beside it opened. The copy stepped onto the platform. The moment its shoes touched the ground, my knees became weak. It walked exactly the way I walked. It even adjusted the backpack strap the same way I always did. The conductor stepped aside as if welcoming someone important. Not me, my replacement. The copy stopped only a few feet away. Then it spoke using my own voice. "You have protected your name. Now I will take your life instead." I tried to back away. It took one step forward. I stepped left. It copied me perfectly, like I was looking into a living mirror. Then something strange happened. The people standing across the underground station all lowered their heads at the same time. Not out of fear, out of respect. The copy was their leader. Or perhaps something even worse. It reached into its pocket and pulled out an old silver pocket watch. The glass was cracked. The hands were frozen. 11:13. The copy held the watch toward me. "Do you remember when this stopped?" I stared at it. Suddenly flashes exploded inside my mind. A railway crossing, heavy rain, a little boy crying, a train horn, someone screaming my name, then darkness. I stumbled backward holding my head. Those memories were not mine. Or were they? The copy smiled. "Now you remember. You have been here before. Not as a man. As a child." My heartbeat stopped. Impossible. I had never seen Black Hollow before this night. The copy slowly nodded as if hearing my thoughts. "Your parents brought you here. They escaped. You did not. We returned what was left. And they believed you came home. Every memory you call your childhood was given back to you, piece by piece. Not one of them is complete." The world tilted beneath my feet. Nothing felt real anymore. My own memories suddenly felt borrowed, like stories someone else had forced into my head. The conductor looked at the frozen clock above the platform, then calmly announced, "Only 1 minute remains." Everyone around me slowly turned toward the train. The doors began closing by themselves. The copy looked directly into my eyes. "When the clock finally moves, only one Ethan Carter will leave this station." And for the first time since arriving at Black Hollow, the frozen minute hand moved forward. One single click. That tiny click echoed across the underground station like an explosion. Every clock moved at the exact same moment. 11:14. The silence vanished. The entire station came alive. Train engines roared. Steel wheels screamed against invisible tracks. Announcement speakers burst into static. Then a voice echoed through every platform. Identity transfer beginning. The conductor closed his ticket book. Everyone stepped back, even the copy, as though something far more powerful had just awakened. The ground started shaking. Deep cracks spread across the platform. Black smoke poured out from between the stones. It did not rise into the air. It crawled, like thousands of living shadows searching for someone. Searching for me. The smoke wrapped around my boots. Instantly another memory disappeared. I tried to remember my home address. Nothing. I tried to remember my first school. Nothing. My best friend. Gone. The memories were not fading. They were being stolen. The copy smiled brighter with every second. Its black eyes slowly changed. Brown. Exactly like mine. Every memory it stole made it more human. Every memory I lost made me less. The people on the platform suddenly began whispering again. Not to me, to the copy. Remember for him, live for him, become him. The copy nodded. Then it spoke my mother's full name. The name I had forgotten only seconds earlier. Hearing it hurt more than any wound. I fell to my knees. My own life was being handed to something else. The conductor finally looked at me with pity. This is how Black Hallow survives. No one leaves dead. Someone simply leaves as you. Then the copy reached into my wallet. Without touching me, my wallet somehow opened by itself. My driver's license floated into its hand. The photograph on the card changed. The smiling face became the copy. Not me. My signature slowly rewrote itself. Even the date of birth shifted. Reality itself was accepting the replacement. Far above the underground station, a train whistle echoed once more. The conductor looked upward. The departure has arrived. The copy started walking toward the staircase leading back to the surface. Toward the world. Toward my life. Before disappearing, it turned around one last time. It smiled exactly the way I always smiled. Then quietly said, "Do not worry. No one will know you are gone." The doors at the top slowly opened. Bright morning sunlight poured inside. The copy stepped into it. The doors closed behind him. I was left alone underground, surrounded by silent strangers, watching the only version of Ethan Carter the world would ever remember. Walk away forever. I ran toward the staircase with everything I had left. The iron doors would not open. I pounded against them until my fists bled. Nothing. The copy was gone. The morning belonged to him now. Behind me, the underground station became quiet again. The conductor removed his cap for the first time. There was no face beneath it. Only darkness. Endless darkness. He spoke without a mouth. "You can still leave." I turned toward him. Hope rushed through my body. "How?" He slowly raised one finger. "Someone outside must willingly remember you. Only then can the station release what it has taken." I frowned. "Remember me." The conductor nodded. "Not your name. Not your face. Your truth. Most people are forgotten before sunrise. No one remembers enough to bring them back." The words hit harder than anything else. The copy was already living my life, talking to my friends, calling my family, going to my home. Every memory they created with him would erase me even faster. Then I heard footsteps, real footsteps, coming from somewhere above. The iron doors slowly opened a few inches. A young railroad deputy walked inside carrying a flashlight. He looked around nervously. "Hello, is someone down here?" I screamed. "I am here. Please help me." He walked straight toward me. Relief flooded through my chest. He could hear me. He stopped only a few feet away. His flashlight passed directly through my body. Without touching me, he frowned. Strange. I thought I heard someone. Then he looked toward the conductor. Except, the conductor was gone. The trains were gone. The platforms were gone. The deputy was standing alone inside an empty abandoned tunnel. He shook his head. Probably just the wind. He turned around and walked back toward the exit. Before leaving, he muttered one sentence that shattered my last hope. Poor Ethan Carter. His family already picked him up this morning. They said he looked different, but maybe trauma changes people. The doors closed once again. Darkness returned. I slowly looked down at my own hands. They were becoming transparent, finger by finger, like smoke disappearing into the air. Years have passed since that night. I still exist somewhere beneath Black Hallow Station. Every once in a while another train arrives at exactly 11:13. Another traveler steps onto the platform. Another lonely voice calls their name. Sometimes they answer. Sometimes they stay silent. It does not matter, because Black Hallow always collects something. If not your voice, then your memories. If not your memories, then your place in the world. So if you ever find yourself standing alone at an abandoned station late at night, and someone you love softly whispers, "Come home," keep walking. Do not answer, because somewhere beneath your feet, I am still waiting for someone to remember the real Ethan Carter. 6 months ago, something impossible happened. For the first time since I became trapped beneath Black Hallow, someone remembered me. Not my name, not my face, only one sentence. A little girl stepped onto the platform above. She could not have been older than 10. She carried an old silver pocket watch in her hand. The same pocket watch the copy had shown me. She looked around the empty station and quietly whispered, "My grandfather said someone is still waiting here." The underground station shook. Every light flickered. The conductor appeared instantly. For the first time, he looked afraid. He turned toward the darkness beyond the tracks and said, "She remembers." A deep roar answered from somewhere beneath us. Not an animal, not a train, something much older. The walls began cracking. The clocks all stopped again. 11:13. The conductor looked directly at me. If even one living person remembers your truth, the exchange becomes unstable. I felt warmth in my hands for the first time in years. My fingers slowly became solid again. The little girl walked closer to the broken clock above. She opened the pocket watch. Inside was an old photograph. A man stood beside a small boy at Black Hollow Station. The man was smiling. The little boy was me. Written beneath the picture were the words, "Never leave him behind again." Suddenly another voice echoed across the station. Not from below, from above. "Ethan." The voice belonged to an old woman. Weak, shaking, but familiar. My mother. She was still alive. For decades she had forgotten everything. But now she remembered one promise. Never leave him behind. The copy felt it instantly. Somewhere in the living world. It screamed. The underground station trembled violently. Every passenger lifted their heads together. The conductor closed his eyes. The balance has broken. The copy is coming back. A train whistle exploded through the darkness. Not from outside. From inside the station. The black train returned at impossible speed. Its doors burst open. The copy stepped out. Its perfect smile was gone. Its skin was beginning to crack. Every memory it had stolen was trying to leave. It looked directly at me with burning black eyes. Then it spoke one final sentence. "If they remember you, they will forget me." And I refused to disappear. The lights went out. The station was swallowed by darkness. Then I heard fast footsteps running straight toward me. Not from one direction. From every direction at once. The footsteps surrounded me. Closer, closer, until they suddenly stopped. Complete silence filled the underground station. Then the emergency lights flickered back to life. The copy was standing only inches away. Its face was splitting apart. Cracks spread across its skin like broken glass. Through those cracks I could see darkness. Not flesh, not bone, only endless darkness. It reached toward me. The moment its fingers touched my shoulder, thousands of memories exploded inside my head. My first bicycle, my father's laugh, my mother's birthday cake, my first day at school. Every memory the station had stolen came rushing back. The pain was unbearable. I collapsed to the ground screaming. The copy staggered backward. Its body became less human with every memory it lost. "Number," it shouted. "Those are mine now." The conductor stepped between us. For the first time, he looked directly at the copy. Not with respect, with disappointment. "The contract has ended. Return what was borrowed." The copy screamed louder than any train horn. The underground station began falling apart. Concrete crashed from the ceiling. Tracks twisted. Old trains dissolved into black smoke. Every silent passenger slowly disappeared, one after another, each of them smiling peacefully before fading away, as though they had finally been released. The little girl above the station called my name again. "Ethan, come back." That single sentence echoed through every tunnel. The darkness beneath the station let out one final roar. Then everything shattered. The platforms, the clocks, the conductor, the train. Everything turned into millions of black ashes. A blinding white light surrounded me. When I opened my eyes, I was lying beside the broken clock at Black Hollow Station. Morning sunlight warmed my face. Police officers stood around me. Paramedics checked my pulse. An elderly woman pushed through the crowd. The moment she saw me, she burst into tears. My mother. She hugged me tighter than anyone ever had. For several minutes neither of us spoke. Finally she whispered, "I knew you never came home that day. I knew they gave me the wrong son." 27 years. I waited 27 years. My entire body froze. 27 years. For me only one night had passed. The officers searched the station for hours. They found no underground tunnels, no abandoned trains, no conductor, nothing. Only one object remained beside the broken clock. An old leather ticket. The destination had disappeared. Only 3 words were still printed on it. Journey complete. I never worked for the railroad again. I never returned to Black Hollow. But every year on the same October night, at exactly 11:13, every clock inside my house stops for 1 minute. And somewhere far away, a train whistle echoes through the darkness, waiting for the next passenger. This was the story of Black Hollow Station. Sleep carefully tonight, because not every voice calling your name wants to bring you home. So this is the story of Black Hollow Station. If you enjoyed this nightmare and want to hear more terrifying true-style horror stories, then make sure to follow Nightmare Files, because every story hides a darkness waiting to find its next victim.